Namaste and welcome to Tridevi Chamunda Mandir in Denver, Colorado. I'm Yamachit. Very glad you could join me this evening for part 20 of our series, Meditations of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. This will be the second part in our series of inner and outer meditations. A couple of announcements. This coming Friday, 7 o'clock. Weather permitting, we'll be doing our first outdoor fire puja of the season, and we'll be honoring the goddess Mahakala Kali. This will be part 11 of our series of the 12 Kalis of the Krama lineage. Following Friday, 7 o'clock, will be our monthly Yoga Nidra. And both of those events, so you're welcome to join us on YouTube or in person. So again, welcome and namaste. We're going to go right into our first meditation. As soon as I turn our camera back to the altar. And make a couple of adjustments. There we go. So I invite you to sit comfortably, straight back. This can be on the floor, the cushion, or in a chair with a straight back. For a lot of these meditations, you could also sit in Shavasana or lay down in Shavasana as well, but find a comfortable meditative position. Close your eyes, long, slow, deep yogic breaths. Using this very simple form of meditation in itself to clear the mind, to let go of the cares of the day, and give this time to yourself for exploration, for learning, for healing, and for growth. Then I invite you to think back and remember a time when you were deeply stirred by something or someone you loved or cared about. Just find the memory. Recall it in your mind. Visualize it with your mind's eye. And then isolate that profound feeling that underlies that memory. Let go of any thoughts about the event or about yourself, and just let yourself sink more deeply into the feeling and intensity of the emotion itself. And then fully enter this feeling in the present moment. And just allow it to carry you into the immense fullness of consciousness. So going from the emotion, something in the past, and just bringing it into this future, into this present moment. And then take a deep and clearing breath, just letting go of the meditation. Becoming aware of your surroundings. As your breath returns normal. Take a moment. Just check in with your feelings at this moment and just notice any effects that the meditation may have had. Then when you feel ready, I invite you to slowly open your eyes, but keeping a relaxed gaze. When a strong memory is stirred, such as when seeing your homeland after a long time away, let go of all thoughts and self-concerns. The all-pervading, powerful nature of consciousness will appear. So the short meditation that we just did is based on verse 119 of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. And once again, like last week's closing meditation, we're using a strong memory to stimulate awareness going into the present moment and then applying it as a means of stepping into the transcendent. So as with other meditations in this Tantra, you can utilize the intense feelings of an immediate life event also as it unfolds to help focus your awareness to a state of present centeredness as the event itself unfolds into real time. Something to consider in doing this, focusing on your emotions as something is happening, is how focusing on your feelings invoked by a past memory are similar to those that you might be experiencing at the present. How are they similar? How are they different? Also, how might both propel your mind into the same place once other external factors are let go of? So in our next meditation, we're going to be using our eyes to focus on something. So I invite you to sit comfortably. You can focus your relaxed gaze on your screen and one of the objects on the altar, or you can pick something in your room and in the immediate space around you to focus on, but just sit comfortably. Breathe deeply. And with a relaxed gaze, begin to look steadily at the object of your choice. So keeping your eyes open, and then slowly withdraw your attention from the object, as well as from any inner commentary about the object. You still see the object, but your attention is returning to your inner self. So your observing awareness is staying anchored here. Your field of vision remains open and soft. And you keep seeing the object, but your awareness is completely rooted like a tree in your inner self. Focusing on the outer, but aware of what's happening on the inner level at the same time. Just letting all separating thoughts drop away, allowing inner and outer to become one, and focusing on that which is without and that which is within, allowing yourself to enter the great emptiness that contains all things. And then I invite you to take a deep and clearing breath. Blink your eyes, but keeping a relaxed gaze. And again, scanning yourself and just noticing how you're feeling at the moment and what effects this meditation may have had. Fix your eyes on a particular object. Then slowly withdraw your gaze from the object as well, from any thoughts or impressions of it. You will become an abode of the great emptiness. This is verse 120 of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. So here we have another way of practicing Tratika, visual meditation, to enter Bhairavi Mudra, where our gaze is directed inward and outward at the same time. So we began this meditation by looking steadily at an object, maybe one of the objects on the altar. Then, while continuing to gaze at the object, we slowly withdrew our attention from it, letting go of any thoughts about it and bringing our attention back to our inner self. So because we're still looking at the object, our awareness is now external with the object, and at the same time internal with our inner self. So our eyes were open with our attention evenly spread all around us, while simultaneously resting in the inner space of pure awareness. And this was a wonderful place for our thoughts to drop away and to allow ourselves to enter the great emptiness, that void that contains everything. So we're going to do the beginning part of our puja, which will take us into the third meditation of today's installment. I invite you to bring the palms of your hands together at your heart center, and we're going to open by chanting Om 3 times. Inhale. Pavitra, Pavitruva, Sarvadastam Yatopiva, Yashmare Pandarikaksham, Savyamyanta, Sushi. Om Shuklam Bharadhanam Vishnum Sashivanam Shatobhijam Prasnavanam Dayat Sarvadhigna Prasantaye. Jai Ganesha. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah. Jai Guru. Om Dvayamakam Yajamaye Sagandim Pushtivardhanam Orvarkameva Vandhanam Michur Mukshyamamritaram Namah Shivaya. Om Jayanti Mangalakali Bhadrakali Kapalani Durga Shama Shiva Datri Svasvada Namastute Jayatvam Devi Chamunde Jayabhutita Harani Jaya Sarvagate Devi Kalaratri Namastute. Jai Ma Kali. So I invite you now to once again close your eyes. Begin breathing deeply. Again, clear your mind, letting go of the two previous meditational experiences. Then I invite you to meditate upon your love of life, your love of God, the deity that you're closest to, or meditate on your love of consciousness itself. Imagine that this puja that we've started is dedicated to one of these things. And feel deeply the profound energy of your devotion. What feelings come up? What is this energy of devotional activity for you at this moment? And sense how there is a wisdom in this energy of devotion, a direct, intuitive knowing of higher truths, higher wisdom. Just stay with this divine knowing and allow yourself to merge into the eternal. And then take a deep and clearing breath, letting go of this meditation, bringing your awareness back to yourself and your surroundings, checking in, just noticing how you're feeling after doing this short and simple meditation. And then slowly open your eyes, keeping a relaxed gaze. The type of intuition that arises from intense devotion, someone who is completely detached from all personal concerns, is the sublime energy of consciousness itself. Meditate regularly on the energy of this intuitive knowing, and it will lead you to the eternal. Verse 121 of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. So the focus of this meditation was on the power of our love of consciousness, or our love of God, the divine. Therefore, this was a form of bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion. So the intensity of our devotion to something eternal awakens in us a direct, intuitive knowing. So by regularly meditating on the powerful energy of divine intuitive knowing, certainly one of the goals of puja practice, for example, we become one with this knowing and one with its source. In other words, meditating on the divine presence awakens our awareness to the divine presence, which also dwells within ourselves. And that's the whole point of shifting from duality to non-duality, which is the theme really for all of the meditations in this Tantra. So we're going to do another external meditation. We're going to be using our visual sense, which for most people is the strongest of our senses. So I again invite you to sit comfortably. Keep your eyes open at a relaxed gaze. Breathe deeply and select an object to gaze upon. It can be one of the figures on the altar on your screen, or it can be, again, something in your room. Breathe deeply and just focus on the object of your choice. And then begin to notice that the other objects in your field of vision start to become less substantial, as if they were being emptied from your own personal reality. Just the object. All other things fading away. contemplating on the emptiness of everything in the periphery of your own vision, everything other than your object of focus. And let this one-pointedness help you to relax and release into a state of peace, a state of tranquility, a state of silence, and a state of stillness. And then take a deep and clearing breath, letting go of the meditation, keeping your relaxed gaze, but again, checking in with yourself and just noticing the changes that have taken place because of this meditation. Focus intently on one particular object and notice that all other objects in your field of vision become empty, contemplating the emptiness of everything else in the periphery of your vision. Even though one object remains, you will slip into a state of tranquility. This is verse 122. So this was another application of Tratika, or visual meditation. You could quite easily do the same thing, focusing on an individual sound and just letting everything else in your awareness drop away, or on the feeling of something, maybe an inner emotion, and letting everything else drop away, maybe even an odor or a taste. So our minds are quite accustomed to just this rapid coming and going of contrasting perceptions and thoughts. So by holding steady on just one object or thought, all other thoughts begin to subside. So the normally dispersed energy of our mind, you could think of it as the monkey mind, starts to gather into a single point of awareness. And we once again become centered on the present moment. And for that moment, become tranquil, peaceful, still as well. So I'm going to continue with our puja. giving some offerings. So I invite you again to breathe deeply and relax while focusing on the screen. And the fact that this was a rather unusual puja, and that among the offerings we offered wine and we offered meat. And the fact that both of those offerings are in bowls made from the tops of two human skulls. So notice those things on the altar: the meat, the wine, the skulls, and just be aware of the feelings within yourself that this image invokes. And if this particular image has nothing that is disturbing for you, I invite you to close your eyes and to think of something that many might consider to be unclean in nature. Maybe a corpse, a nude body, a pile of garbage, pig. You can focus on one of those types of things in your mind's eye. Breathe deeply and focus either on an image without or an image within. Be aware of the feelings that come up with that. And contemplate that from the highest reality, there's no such thing as purity and impurity. At this level, it is all just consciousness. Everything we see, everything we lay judgments on, are still part of the same consciousness. So as you focus on these things, I invite you to free yourself of these judgments and experience the true happiness, the true contentment, the true feelings of peace that comes from seeing from this highest perspective through the eyes of oneness, through the eyes of non-duality. The purity described by people of little understanding is not understood as purity by those who know the self. In the highest reality, there is no purity and no impurity. Be free of these thoughts, be free of these judgments, and through this act, attain happiness. Verse 123 of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. So I invite you to take a deep and clearing breath, letting go of this meditation. If you had your eyes closed, I invite you to slowly open your eyes, keeping a relaxed gaze. And check in with yourself and just notice how you're feeling as a result of this meditation. What effects has the meditation had? So the concept of things that are pure and things that are impure are common to most spiritual traditions. And such notions can certainly be helpful in many stages of our inner work. But from the awakened perspective, and this is really the goal, one of the goals of Tantric meditation, from this awakened perspective, there are unnecessary judgments that trap our mind at a dualistic and divisive level of perception. And it goes right hand in hand with this idea of I versus you, us versus them, me versus that, me, not me. And in this regard, these distinctions are just really conceptual baggage that need to be let go of, because they limit our full scope of reality. So yes, there are forms of tantric practice that are similar to this meditation, maybe involving going to somewhere that someone feels they're uncomfortable, a guru instructing a student to do that, or to eat of something that they're repulsed by. There's all sorts of, there's a number of different forms of this meditation. So from the awakened perspective, all of life is perfect just as it is. It is part of the whole. It is all consciousness appearing in this form. So if we're going to experience this truth, then at some point we need to let go of all sorts of judgments. We need to cease judging and be able to release into the deep happiness when that realization of complete connection comes. Notice that the instructions in this meditation is to be free of thoughts of pure and impure, and not to be free of ethical behavior appropriate to our time and culture, actions that spontaneously arise out of our self-inherent sense of our oneness with others. Om Pavitra Pavitrova Sarvabhistam Gatopiva Yashmare Pandarikaksham Sabya Bhyantara Sushi. These are the verses that we use at the cleansing phase of our pujas. Om. If one is pure or impure, or even in all other conditions, one who remembers that divine presence becomes pure outwardly as well as inwardly. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Take a deep and clearing breath, bringing the palms of your hands to your heart center. Feeling that divine presence within yourself and knowing it is always there to guide you. Giving gratitude to yourself for taking part in this practice. Namaste. Blessings always. Jai Mata Di. And thank you so very much. So I look forward to you joining me on Friday for our fire puja to Ma Mahakala Kali, the 11th Kali, the 12 Kalis of the Krama Stotram. Till then, have a wonderful few days ahead. Be mindful of the effects of these meditations that they might have these days ahead. Maybe just noticing you handling situations a little bit differently, or some flashes of insight. Just have a wonderful night, a few days ahead. Again, thank you and namaste. Jai Ma.